Hello everyone, this is Ninja Girl, Sakura here, back with another Yashahime Princess Half Demon review. This past weekend we got Season 2, Episode 21, Osamu Kirin's Apparition Conquest. And, well, needless to say, this episode was pretty wild. And in my opinion, in some areas, it kind of jumped the shark a little bit. Some of the twists and turns in this episode were kind of cool, but yeah, you can tell they're maybe in a way rushing things a bit here. But yeah, I'll get into that as we go. So, let's go over everything that happened, shall we? Obviously, like at the end of the last episode, the girls are still trying to figure out a way to get back to the feudal era because Osamu Kirin said he was going to destroy every demon, and that would include their fathers, Sesshomaru and obviously Inuyasha. So, yeah, they are desperate to get back and hopefully warn them and maybe even protect them. We don't know. Either way, they want to let them know what's going on and what they heard. So, yeah. But the Tree of Ages will not let them through, much to their frustration. But then Kagome's mother comes up and is very happy that they finally made it home, and kind of scolds them for being out so late, but then invites them back into the house, and they explain everything that's going on, how they need to get back to the feudal era, how Towa promised her mom, promised Rin, that they would share a hug as a family with their father, and yeah, they make it apparent they really need to get back fast. And Sota comments that, well, my sister mentioned how she was struggling to get back to the feudal era once, and how the well wouldn't work. And when Towa asks, oh, well, how long did that take for her to finally make it back? Because obviously she did, right? And Sota says, yeah, that took about 3 years. Obviously, they don't have that kind of time. So, yeah. But realizing there's nothing more that they could do that night, Kagome's mom just says, alright, try again tomorrow. For now, try to get some sleep. Moroha, I'll renew a nice hot bath. And of course, she's overjoyed at this. Setsuna, Moe asks if she's able to sleep. She says yes, so yeah, I guess she escorts her to a guest bedroom. And obviously, Towa goes back to her old room, like she always has, you know. And the next morning, they do indeed try again. They start begging Akaru and the Sacred Tree, mostly Akaru, to please help them, let them get through. They have to help their families and all that stuff. And this is kind of what I mean by jumping the shark a little bit. Because they called out to the tree and Akaru. Well, I guess they did call out to just the tree in the previous episode, didn't they? They tried Akaru's pinwheel, but it didn't work. But still, I really thought they were going to use the Bone Eater's well to get through. Especially after Sota mentioned it and how Kagome struggled trying to get back. But no. The girls just keep calling out to Akaru, and he does eventually open a path through. And I gotta commend the little guy. He actually gets through. But sadly, after he does it, it must have been the last of his strength because he collapses in Towa's arms and fades away. So we don't know if Akaru is dead or what is going on with him. Or if he just kind of went back to sleep. We have no idea. We really don't. But not wanting to waste any time, all the girls agree, okay, we need to get moving right now before this portal closes up. So, yeah. But before they do leave, Sota and everyone says their goodbyes. Kagome's mom brings out Kagome's old backpack full of stuff that they were gonna need. Obviously, Moroha is grateful for that. May tries to tell Towa she's gonna be strong and that she won't cry. And Moe tells Setsuna to keep practicing her violin. You know, they're all just being really nice. And then we get Sota saying goodbye to Towa. And it was honestly a very sweet scene. I did like this. He just tells her that he was glad to have had her in his life. He's happy that she was able to find Setsuna, and that he always thought of her as his own daughter. And he'll never forget and will always treasure the 10 years that he had with her. And it's really sweet. I really liked it. So yeah. And I wish they would have hugged, though. That is one thing I will say, but Towa shakes Sota's hand and just thanks him. And the girls go on their way, with Moe and Sota and everyone hoping and believing that they will see them again someday. So yeah. And when the girls arrive back in the feudal era, they can see everything is complete and utter chaos. It's really, really bad. Demons are everywhere, and Towa she can't believe it. She still can't even figure out what Osamu Kirin truly wants. I mean, we know he said, I'm going to destroy all demons, but there must be something more that he wants, right? We'll see more, I guess, towards the end of the series. But, yeah. Right now, things stand at a weird place. You'll see what I mean. But, yeah. And meanwhile, we then see Riku and Rion with the Kyuyukon apple thing that they have. They're trying to get to Kinemaru's boat and hopefully stop him long enough to kill him, because apparently the apple will weaken him long enough for them to kill him, I guess. I guess that's the power it holds. So, yeah. So while Riku is doing his best to fend off all the demons that are coming from the Grim Comet, Rion manages to get onto the boat and tries to sneak in. And surprisingly, Kinemaru is asleep. I guess he drank a little too much wine, because we do see a cup right next to him. But right as Rion is about to approach Kinemaru and use the apple on him, Osamu Kirin steps in behind her and grabs her arm. And it's like, shh, I made him sleep for a little while longer. And Rion, she at first starts freaking out. She's like, let me go. I need to do this. But then Osamu Kirin starts being really nice to her. And is like, it's been a long time, Rion. And, you know, he's just being really nice and tender toward her. You know. And then he starts saying how he's so sorry that she was killed, and how she must have suffered and is still suffering. And he explains that he's on her side, that he understands that she wants to protect the world and save all the plants and the animals and just, yeah, save everything she holds dear by getting rid of her father. And Rion starts falling for this, especially when, you know, Osamu Kirin being her father's little right arm, he starts just like holding her arm, holding her hand, and she remembers the good times with her dad again, and how he used to be so good toward her, and they had such a nice relationship, and they would travel together, which, admittedly, we have seen this in the past, where she can't let go of her father, truly. She says she has, but she hesitates every time she's had a confrontation with him. So that, I will say, has been set up. So yeah, but she can't help but remember those good times. And Osamu Kirin hugs her and says, you don't have to use that apple on him. There's another way. We can truly make the world you desire. So yeah, and eventually she does end up leaving with him. And Riku wonders what the heck is going on when he sees her with Osamu Kirin. But yeah, when he chases after Rion and tries to figure out what the heck is going on, Osamu Kirin is like, oh, hi. You know, you should join us, basically. And we see what RION ends up doing with the apple. There was something inside the Grim Comet, right? Well, it turns out that was a butterfly cocoon. I should have realized that before. But yeah, she basically pours energy into the Grim Comet, and it's enough to make this huge, giant butterfly burst out of the Grim Comet, and it's apparently called the Grim Butterfly. And I guess somehow it has the power that it can absorb and eradicate all demons that get close to it or something, because we see that happening. And it's honestly quite beautiful. You see an image of it on screen right here. It's beautiful, but it's obviously very deadly and very bad. So, yeah, now this thing is there, and Osamu Kirin and RION, who, when Riku does still protest what's going on, is like, what are you doing? This isn't what you wanted. And she's like, RION's just, I don't need you anymore. Get out of my face. I'm with Osamu Kirin now. Basically. And yeah. And Osamu Kirin tells him, well, she has a different wish now, so basically get used to it. And then Osamu Kirin and RION link themselves to the fate of the Grim Butterfly with red threads of fate. And again, Osamu Kirin tells Riku, oh, you should link your fate with the Grim Butterfly. That way, even when Kidamaru tries, or when Kidamaru is eventually killed, you won't die. He does mention that will happen with him, too. If I link my fate with the Grim Butterfly, even if Kidamaru falls, I won't die. My fate's now linked to something else. So, yeah. This is quite a wild turn, though, with the whole Grim Butterfly. I will admit I did not see that coming. But again, it's kind of jumping the shark a little bit, it feels like. It's like they're really trying to rush this into what I'm assuming will be the series finale. Who knows? Because they haven't said anything about a Season 3 yet. They might not till Season 2 finishes, if there will be a Season 3. I'm really not thinking there is. But, yeah. And RION's turn, it does seem a little abrupt, but again, I do acknowledge that her hesitating to actually kill her father, I do acknowledge that she has hesitated every single time that she has seen him or talked with him. So, yeah. Or at least she's hesitated to actually use force on him. She'll talk smack to him, no problem, but if Kidamaru and her actually fight, she hesitates. So I do get that, and I get that her father is kind of her weakness, and Osamu Kirin has used that weakness and her desire to basically have her father back. He's used that against her to get her to do what he wants. So, okay. I do get that. Just, it feels very, very fast for all this to happen. But yeah. Riku declines Osamu Kirin and RION's offer to link his fate with the Grim Butterfly, and in retaliation, well, Osamu Kirin just sends Riku off. He blasts him away. But thankfully, he was able to use his earring to kind of shield himself. And he ends up crashing into Towa, who explains what's going on. And Inuyasha and Kagome finally arrived back with Moroha and the girls too. So that's gonna be fun to have the family together again. Speaking of, they just released some really beautiful art of Moroha, Kagome, and Inuyasha. It's beautiful. I love it. Anyway. But, yeah. Riku literally crashes into Towa and explains what's going on. They kind of can't believe it. Because last they knew, RION would never do something like this. She just wanted to stop her father. But now she's in league with Osamu Kirin, and Osamu Kirin has gone crazy. I think you can tell that much from his actions. So, yeah. But obviously, even if RION's involved, which she now is, they still have to stop this thing. Because it's absorbing and capturing demons, it looks like. So yeah. And Kinemaru has woken up from all this now. And he immediately, when he saw Rion and Osamu Kirin, because they get absorbed into the Grim Butterfly, as well as having linked their fate to it. They get absorbed into it. And we see Osamu Kirin immediately go after Rion, freaking out, clawing, creating a hole of his own through the Grim Butterfly, trying to get to Rion. So, wow. But yeah, after hearing all this, Inuyasha and Kagome, they ride on Shippo. The girls, they ride on, was it Kilala or Takachiyo? I think it's Kilala. No, because Kilala's with, yeah, it must have been Takachiyo or whatever. Yeah. So, they all start making their way up toward the Grim Butterfly, and obviously they hope to stop it. And then we see Rin and Sesshomaru inside the Tree of Ages, and he actually does start waking up. So that's good. He seems to be fully recovered now, his eyes open, so that's very good. And then we get a very interesting confrontation as well. Once Kinemaru does finally make his way deeper into the Grim Butterfly, and we see this weird room. It's got like pods full of demons in it. And Rion is in the center, basically being its power source. Her eyes are glowing red. She's not saying a word. So I don't know. I don't know if she's possessed or hypnotized or what's going on. But she seems compliant in all of this. But yeah, the interesting thing is this whole confrontation with Kinemaru and Osamu Kirin. Obviously, Kinemaru's pissed off about him taking Rion. But then Osamu Kirin chastises him, reminding him that if he had listened to Toga all those years ago, Rion would not have been dead. She wouldn't have been killed. And she wouldn't have suffered this whole time because of it. She was suffering that whole time, and he was being selfish and didn't seem to care what his daughter wanted. And yeah, Kinemaru kind of has nothing to say to this, because in a way he knows he's right. He didn't listen to her and ask her what her wishes were. So, yeah, and that resulted in her death. So, yeah. And he basically says, if you truly want to be a good father to her, because you've been an awful father, well, you can help us. You can take down Sesshomaru for us. So, yeah. Again, Osamu Kirin, he's a good manipulator so far. Because, yeah, I thought he was trying to manipulate Kinemaru into thinking he was on his side and that he would kill him. That's what I was thinking at the end of the last episode. That he would just wait for his chance to kill Kinemaru himself. But no. I mean, I'm sure he's going to try to kill him eventually. But right now, he actually has him on their side by using the guilt he has over Rion's death. And the fact that he didn't ask her what she wanted. She wanted to protect the world, the beautiful trees, the animals, you know, the innocent people. She wanted to protect them and see all that safe. But he wants to destroy it by bringing about the degenerate age. So, and it's basically happening now, because things are nuts. But, yeah. So, and the next time we see Kinemaru, Sesshomaru has come out of the Tree of Ages with Rin, and he immediately crashes in front of Sesshomaru, or well, across from him, and is ready to fight him. And Sesshomaru, he's fully recovered now, and he's ready as well. And I find this a little strange, though. Instead of telling Rin to go hide, he actually wants her to stay and watch the fight. And she agrees to this. That's a bit, I don't know. I don't think that's a wise move. Because isn't that exactly what happened with Rion? She stayed on the battlefield watching her dad fight and she ended up dead? Sesshomaru, I don't know if this is such a good move, but it is what it is. And she's gonna be there to, I guess, encourage her husband? Which is a good thing in a way, in the sense that she's supportive. But it's very dangerous to her health, to say the least. But, yeah. And that's where the episode ends, pretty much. Oh, also, Kohaku ends up giving Towa the Kikijumanji. So, the actual one that the Lord had given them before. I forgot to mention that he does give that to her. So, I'm guessing she's going to have to use it towards the end here. It's kind of been set up for a reason, I suppose. We'll see. But, yeah, the episode ends with Sesshomaru and Kinemaro getting ready to face off once again. So, yeah. And everyone trying to make their way to the Grim Comet to stop Osamu Kirin and now RION. So, yeah. Overall, very crazy episode, and I think some of it is jumping the shark a little bit. Just a little. Yeah, just with how quickly RION seemed to turn. But again, like I mentioned, I acknowledge that her hesitating when it comes to her dad has been set up, so I acknowledge that. But for her to just immediately turn on everybody, even Riku, who was helping her, it seems a bit weird. Because, I don't know. It just really feels like they're rushing into this ending a little. But hopefully it turns out alright. We'll see. We won't know until it's over. But I'm gonna hope it ends well. At least. So yeah, also, some of the animation looked really off. Like when Inuyasha and Kagome show up, their models look really weird. I don't know what happened there. But yeah, the animation was a tiny bit off in some areas here. Also, Shippo looked really tiny on Kagome's shoulder or whatever. It was weird. But, yeah, it was an okay episode. I have my issues with it. But overall, it was an okay episode. And some of the plot twists, like RION actually turning evil, it seems like, that I did not actually see coming, so I'll give it that much. So yeah, I am curious to see if they can make RION change her mind and come back to our side. I think they obviously will by the end of all this, but what will the price be to get there? That is the question. Because what's going to happen to Riku now? I mean, he's still bleeding from his wound. He's not in good shape at all. We don't know what's going to happen with him yet. He hasn't linked his fate with the Grim Butterfly. So that's a problem, because when Kinemaro eventually does fall, he's going to fall with him. And that's going to affect Towa, obviously. So there's, yeah. But I'm going to hope for the best. I'm going to hope that the series will end well and things turn out okay. We gotta wait and see, though. But I won't ramble on anymore. That will do it for this review, I think. I've said my piece. The next episode seems to be pretty interesting, though. It's titled The Grim Butterfly of Despair. And from the preview, yeah, it looks like there's gonna be an all-out brawl inside of the Grim Butterfly, so that's gonna be interesting. So yeah. And remember, Towa doesn't have the Zenzai Ken now. Osamu Kirin took it, so I don't know what they're gonna do with that, but again, we'll see. So, I'm looking forward to it. We'll see where it goes from here, I guess. This episode, again, was pretty wild. But, yeah. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, leave a like and share it around if you want. If you want to follow me on Twitter, or support the channel on Patreon, which I would be forever grateful for, both links will be in the video description below, like they usually are. And yeah, until the next episode, I will see you guys later.